TB&J! TB&J! TB&J!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. With me today is Troy Brittingham.
Across from me is Jeff Ackerman.
And we also got Chris Carroll here, guys.
Hey, when I got into the studio today, there was a guy at the front door asking me about tickets. Who is that?
That'd be D. What's up, buddy?
You
D's the ticket master?
D is the ticket master. I forgot about the ticket master, Troy.
I heard the layup. I knew the layup was coming. Anyway,
Thank
D.
you, Troy.
listen. I want to wish everyone a happy 100th episode.
Yay!
Debatable.
Woo!
Yes. Oh my. Yes.
They overlapped.
I mean, we will of course have another one that celebrates my personal 100th episode, but we will also have to.
Whoa! Don't get too ahead of yourself.
Yeah, no.
Do
I
we know
mean,
if
the
you're gonna be
celebration.
around that long?
I understand there's a lot of planning involved.
We hate to break it to
I
you,
apologize.
but we didn't renew your contract.
Anyway, Dune.
We saw Dune, everybody. Immediate first take. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Troy.
Dune. Sorry.
That was a good use of the soundboard that doesn't get used often enough. Troy, thumbs up, thumbs down. You got to give it one or the other.
I think I'm.
Got to give it one or the other. No middle grounds here.
Oh, it's the internet.
Yep.
I think I might say thumbs down.
On an
then.
internet radio show? Is this the internet? Yes, Troy.
Well, yeah, but I'm asking, is this an internet question?
Yes.
Is it
Thumbs
the
up,
best
thumbs
or
down.
the worst?
Where's the boo button?
I think I might be more negative than positive. I think I might be thumbs down.
Thumbs down, Chris. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up, coming from
Ooh.
a Dune fan.
Thumbs up?
Exactly. And D, how do you feel? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
The thumb is up.
Cool.
Now
And
you decide at home whether that is Skarsgård or Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
We can't decide.
Your interpretation, people.
He says it's Josh Brolin.
It depends where the
also
thumb
thumbs
is up.
I'm also thumbs down. The room is perfectly divided. Troy and I are thumbs down, and Chris and D are thumbs up.
This is
Yeah, but I'm
I'm
heavily biased.
This is a rare.
So-
no, but I am heavily biased in the other direction on all other forms of Dune.
So I'm
Okay.
curious to
And
elaborate on that.
I'm intrigued.
I'm curious to hear D elaborate on that. But first, a little groundwork. Troy, myself, and D have not read Dune. I know Troy and I have not seen the original Dune years ago.
I've seen scenes of it. I've never sat down and watched it from beginning to end.
D, have you
but I've
seen the original Dune from the 80s?
Listen, Dune is still Dune. Okay, it's still just like so. I don't know if you got this, but we're gonna film on dunes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sand.
It's rough and
I
coarse.
think listen, this is, and I'm trying to stay, still spoiler free for a little bit for people. We're just gonna, but like this is. By the way, what's yours? You did say your thumbs.
I
you
did.
said- you
I'm
said
thumbs down.
Okay,
He
okay,
whispered it into his microphone like a freak.
I did.
He's a weird guy.
The reason I said all that, though, was, Chris, you have read Dune
Yes.
when you were a
Yes.
child.
Speaking of which, when I was a child,
Sure.
when I was in high school, this movie covers about 50% of the first book.
That was my phone.
And
Ignore it.
Jeff didn't
was still-
silence his phone like
but
a
you were still but a
fucking
child.
amateur. I mean, basically. 16, 17.
How many?
Yeah.
How many books are there? I know nothing.
Can you?
I think there's
with
six.
with the cursing
in like
though.
in like the actual ones written by Frank Herbert, not the ones by his son.
Yeah, so his son wrote
And
a
then there's, like,
prequel
whole-
trilogy.
Now there's
in
whole like
the-
expanded universe shit.
Yeah, in like 98, 99,
The-
his son wrote a prequel trilogy
Is-
that explains
is
the Emperor's
his-
ascendance to the
The
throne.
Duneverse?
Is his
The
son?
Duneverse.
Is his son different than our son?
Very.
Yes, arson is a federal crime.
I see what you did there. You see what I did there. Then
I
you
did.
did it. Okay, let's go.
Okay,
Keep
cool.
going.
Keep going.
Keep
Rolling with the jokes. But Chris, I was very eager actually to have this podcast with you specifically. We actually, for those of you listening,
Which is new.
for the 12 of you that listen regularly,
Because we don't usually care.
you'll notice this episode came out a couple days late because I wanted to make sure Chris made this show, and he was tied up with some personal matters that we'll get into at the end of the episode. But
Also, as I was in another state.
yes, but I really wanted Chris on this show because
Of
Chris is the
mind.
only one of us that knows Dune before. That knows Dune as the book, rather. That's what I was trying to say. And I'm very curious to see what you have to say about this film in particular.
So starting off, There are like a tiny few points that they didn't include in the movie.
Okay, so are we getting into past? So just so we know, we get the general idea. We say, we're a little split here. Without getting
perfectly
into too
split.
much stuff. I mean, obviously, if you're going to talk about like what they didn't show and what they did, you're getting into spoilers. So you're warned, listener.
Yeah, spoilers ahead.
And I'm very interested to see what you have to say about this, Chris.
So they actually didn't include a major character yet, which is actually kind of okay because he more plays into the latter half of the first
Sting's
book.
character from the movie.
Yes, it is.
It is.
It is Baron Harkonnen's favored nephew, who is supposed to be like a foil to Paul Atreides.
David Harkonnen is Drax.
That is the elder nephew, who's more brutal and also Drax.
Yeah, the guy played by Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
So is do we know who's going to play this character?
No, I don't think they ever
Because there's no way
listed
they're not
someone for
doing
it.
the Sting character, right?
I mean, maybe they'll bring Sting back.
Because I feel like if they
Oh,
if they
so-
do it, that he's just going to look like Scott Weiland, and it's going to be awesome.
So the more violent older nephew is not Dave Bautista.
Is Dave Bautista.
Is Dave Bautista. Okay.
The younger one, who is the Baron's favored nephew, who is the foil to Paul, is
Okay,
not
okay.
in the film.
I don't know why I didn't hear that.
guys. I love that he's a baron in a desert because deserts
Well, he's a baron in space.
are barren,
He's a baron over his own planet in the Imperium.
but
Yeah, but what
deserts
is-
are also barren.
What is space but a desert of stars?
So the
Big think.
the Imperium, as it keeps getting referred to in this universe, is like the Empire.
So the Emperor controls all of the known universe, and then each of the like planets have a vassal, which is owned by a house or multiple minor houses.
man, I think we have a vassal.
Yeah. So
I see what you did there.
the vassals have various titles like Baron Harkonnen or Duke Atreides.
Okay, cool. So Duke Atreides, was he in charge of the deserty planet, or was he in charge of a different planet and then asked to be?
I think I already understand why Chris loved this as a story, because you're a tech guy, like you're.
Wait a
and
minute.
This is probably read like a computer. It was just like, and there are these planets here, and it's world building, and world building, and.
So what you're saying is Chris is smart enough to understand
Spice.
Dune, and me and Jeff are
I'm
not.
smart enough to
and-
understand the prequel's trade dilemmas.
Oh, I actually okay. Yeah, let me ask you this. So I am before we get into other tech, because that's the true issue. You guys got to talk about what you didn't like, and you got to talk about a little bit, please, about your background with Dune, because I have mine, but like again, it's
My
different.
background with Dune is very simple. It is I know that giant sandworms exist, and that I think it was Scrubs where JD and Turk went as the sandworm every year for Halloween. I might be a different sitcom.
Or was
I might
that
be remembering a
or
different
was that a
sitcom.
Beetlejuice reference?
No, they specifically said Dune in the show. I think it was Scrubs.
I don't remember.
But it doesn't matter. But so I only know it as like big sandworm on a desert planet thing, and there are free men called
Fremen.
the Fremen. I'm sorry, the Fremen, not free men. Sorry, excuse me. The
Jeff, I'm going to
metaphor
hate you
is a
by the
little
end of
too
this
obvious.
podcast.
But no.
Wait a
I've only
minute.
known it as.
Does that stand for free man? Oh man! Wow, blowing. Listen, listen.
it's a
You're
thinker.
catching up to
Do you
the
know what's-
symbolism
do you
50
know-
years later.
Do you know what's awesome? Do you know what's awesome?
Lots of things.
Doing just that, I can blow like 80 kids' minds. Oh shit!
You don't say.
If like 80, like if you're 15 and you hear like the Fremens, like yeah, the free men, like. They're like, thank you for writing the rest of my paper.
But that all I've ever known is like sandworms. I know that my dad used to talk about it because he read it when he was a kid.
No, listen, your dad had Alzheimer's, and that listen, he just liked to talk about worms.
He actually had worms.
Oh,
Oh,
dear,
no.
that's why he was dragging his butt
Listen,
on the carpet.
Yeah.
But
We-
my dad read Dune when
Yeah.
he was a kid. He really, really enjoyed it, and he praised it as like one of the greater pieces of sci-fi work.
It's a very highly acclaimed sci-fi novel.
Yes,
Right, and this is just so we know, like this is kind of my background on it. It's like the 80 whatever.
I think it's
version that
84
came out
movie.
84.
with David Lynch, directed with Sting and the guys.
Patrick
I think,
Stewart.
I think basically what they lost in lightsabers in this movie that they marketed. I think, very similar to where they were like, so it's like Star Wars, right? They're like, it's the best sci-fi story ever created by most critics. Oh, so it's like Star Wars. They're like, yeah. like, and they're like, all right. We're like, well, what do you got? You got like laser swords? Like, we could maybe put a laser sword in it. I'm pretty confident that there's like a laser sword scene. Like, they're like, why don't we put a laser sword in this scene? Like, I'm confident they did something so that they could show it in a trailer. But I may be wrong about that. All I really remember is like glowing blue eyes.
Yep.
Looked really cheesy. Was never as cool as the hype of what it is.
You said that. It unlocked a memory of like the blue blobs clashing with the shields on them, and you couldn't tell what was happening, but I remember blue blobs.
I feel like Sting's character in the original had a lightsaber during like a training sequence, and like that, and I had no idea what was going on. It was talking scenes most of the thing. There was like 1 or 2 scenes where they do training like they do in this movie, where things look cool. And to be fair, I think the thing that they did with this movie is they packed this movie with some of the best, most charismatic actors.
Oh, for sure.
And set designers and costumers and cinematographers, and they were like, we will make things absolutely beautiful. Just kind of listen. Just kind of like be here and listen to this, and it's not going to even. And I really do. I landed on this movie. I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, it's still Dune. So I feel like people who like Dune that are like I like it, and maybe they even like the 80s movie where they're just like, yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's just people talking, and like, and it's like people say, and it's just like exposition, and it's like, this isn't even a story. It's just even if there was a climax to this story, we're gonna blow right past that. We're gonna go to another scene that's more pivotal to the hero's journey, and it's a kind of an end point. It's one of the stop point. It's one of the points on a hero's journey, but it's hardly ever.
They've reached the first checkpoint.
It's hardly
that's
hardly
the
ever the
they
end.
stopped halfway through the first book.
So they basically go. So if you tell the hero's journey, you would stop like kind of at the next scene. Like,
yeah, when he meets the Fremen, like when he heads back to their village,
or the one before, which would be Leto
dying. Yeah,
the first real big spoiler there. In
yeah.
case you didn't.
I honestly though, like,
Jared Leto is dead.
I will say,
Jared Leto has now died.
I tried to watch this movie with my fiance who was on the couch next to me, and during the first 10-15 minutes when it's just Zendaya doing an exposition like dump all over us,
The first 3 minutes of the movie, then she does nothing.
Right, but like all of that was happening, and the setup was happening, and she's
already done.
20 minutes in, my fiance was like, "I'm done," and she started like cleaning the kitchen and just doing something else while listening in the background.
You gotta
be
ready.
And then an hour and a half into the movie, when things start happening, she was like, "Okay, I might be back in, but like at this point, I don't know who anybody is, and I don't care." And that was my biggest complaint, was that it took so long for something to happen that made me care.
The too long didn't read of that was my one complaint was my wife. Was my fiance. That was literally the complaint you just gave right there, just so you know.
No,
Jeff, your mistake is that you needed to drag her to the movies. That way she can't escape, which is what I did.
No. But she kept getting bored and just like tuning out, which was also like me. I was like on my phone for parts of this movie.
I said, that's the first 3 minutes when she says that it's Zendaya.
And like the next 40 minutes is all just exposition on House Atreides.
Yeah. The first hour of this movie is like nothing happened.
It is an unfortunate thing that they're tying so close to the book. The book is a slow read, and then it gets very, very good.
So I didn't mind that personally. Like I was kind of coming into it expecting it to be kind of slow and buildy. I just think Paul is really boring.
Oh, okay. So I could understand that completely, and I get that. And his name is
Paul Atreides.
Stop calling him Atreides because it almost sounds cool when you add Atreides, because Atreides is fine, right? Atreides is good. His name is Paul.
I mean, hey, like halfway through the movie, you could just refer to him as Duke Atreides.
Hi, I'm Paul.
His name is Paul, and it's the most a Pauline thing in this film.
Jeez.
Some of it, and that was even good. Like that was just that it is that bad. It's that bad. It's that bad.
That little laugh at the end always gets
Yeah, well,
that bad.
travel
It's
back to
not good enough
1965
for
and talk
that,
to Frank Herbert.
because that last guy that laughs in that laugh track is like the true essence of like the Dune fan. He's like the guy that really appreciated that is the guy that really appreciates Dune. No, but they're right to appreciate it because it was a great pun.
I
but
mean-
it was also great because like they're making this cool to me. It looks so fucking cool. And here's the thing: I had the benefit of who's the actor? Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy
right?
Chalamet.
Chalamet.
By the way, I just want to say, perfect casting for Paul.
It is great casting. He does. I always got the impression that he's like a thin kind of like, young. This is so. And I didn't know who he was when he was the host of SNL last year. And I was like, and people were like, oh yeah, he's from the blah blah blah, and I forget what. But I was like, who the hell is this guy? They're like, oh, all the girls love him. I'm like, okay, who is this person? And I watched him on that, and I was like, okay, like he is not. I'm like, I'm looking at him, and I'm like, this on paper, I'm seeing the pictures. I'm like, no, what is it? And you watch him on screen, and I'm like, I gotta give like they know what they're doing in Hollywood, but they're just like him, that one.
The
And they're
casting
just-
for this movie is spot on,
He's
except in like
so-
that's the whole thing.
Really?
except in like
he's
two
charismatic.
cases.
He makes those Paul scenes so bearable, and so does Lady
Jessica.
That's so dumb. Name it Jessica.
I know.
Jessica.
So they have certain
The names
sci-fi
are so
names
funny. It's
like Leto,
Tiffany. It's
and
so
that sounds like a good like made-up name. And then you just get Paul and Jessica.
and what's his face Idaho.
Duncan
Idaho.
which is like half good.
That is like one of the
But
few castings
forgivable.
I didn't
forgivable because at least Idaho is Native
so wait,
American.
that's-
wait,
at least
Chris-
Idaho is Native American and kind of like
you didn't like Jason Momoa as Idaho?
I didn't feel Jason Momoa as Idaho.
He's
was
the
was
only
on.
one I
you're
liked.
just reacting. You're just reacting to his lack of facial hair.
Why?
That's what you're reacting to.
Why is he a bad fit? As the only member of the podcast that read the book,
Yeah.
why is he a bad fit?
So they did get like most parts of the character right. He has short hair, which
In the book?
is, yeah, I know, which is not a big thing. Fuck off.
What does it? Does this?
So on a
what
scale-
why does this affect you so much?
So Jason Momoa is a huge guy, and he has like that weird, not weird, but like sort of Hawaiian look to him.
Yeah, he is.
Pacific Islander.
Wow, good save.
He's
Good
Pacific
save.
Islander.
Good save.
Pacific
No,
Islander,
He
thank
has
you.
a unique look that is unlike white males. Yes.
Listen.
Is it because you can't imagine himself as him? As
Yeah,
Morton?
like
he was your guy. Was he
when
your
I
guy?
when I read the book ever so long ago, it's not how I imagined Duncan Idaho being.
Yeah.
So that's the unfortunate case because I've read the book.
But
it
did you
doesn't
really
match.
like Duncan Idaho?
Yeah,
Was he
Duncan Idaho's a great character.
If you wanted to be one of the characters from the story, would you have been Duncan Idaho? Was that like your guy? Could you have seen himself more? Because
No,
because I can see that personally bothering me.
I was around Paul's age when I read the book, so I identified
Okay.
more with Paul.
So my whole thing is, he's kind of the only one that I liked, despite him being
Duncan?
Jason Momoa. Fuck Jason Momoa. But
What you didn't? What about the
I kind of felt like everybody else was doing.
Baron?
I felt like
the
kind-
Baron.
The
Is
Baron's
great.
okay. The Baron's not in enough of it.
First of
for
all,
me.
Paul is doing Chalamet is doing a great.
Chalamet.
He's just
Charlemagne.
I don't.
Whatever his
everybody-
name is, I'm not gonna get it right.
Everybody in there, especially him, and that's not to the same extent, but they were all just giving me weird kind of Hayden Christensen vibes of like really just boring, slow.
That's just all the sand. Come on, man! Like, get past. Like, no, I feel like weird because like I totally understand the reaction of being like Dune. Just can't get into it. Like, I get that because that's how I've always reacted to Dune. There was something about this, maybe the Twilight watching of this, like the last couple nights. Well, I've watched this movie. I've watched certain scenes of this movie 100 times. We literally just watched one scene that I've literally never seen, which is a pivotal scene that I thought was like, so we never saw the death of Leto, right? We never actually saw
And
it.
we were all like,
no,
we know. We absolutely saw that.
I swear, it literally was, what was it, 3 minutes of time that I missed. Like I was like, I think I kept dipping out like just at those.
And it was an hour and a half into the movie.
I was
It was like an
no,
hour
I literally
32.
I saw him with the little scroll, the finger scroll. She hands him the ring. Like I thought those scenes were all the same, and I was like, I didn't miss nothing. Like I walked out of the room first. I went to get chips or something. Like literally, this is the third or fourth time I watched this because everything else I've seen a ton of times.
Yep.
But it is beautiful, this movie, and it is really engaging. I love. I think they did a great job of telling the story, or maybe I'm just like better at understanding kind of what's going on because I've seen other iterations, or kind of like I've lived with it longer. Where I'm just like, okay, so there's a spice. I thought they told that better. Like, okay, the spice is hallucinogenic, and they have these guys, and there's these priestesses, and it's kind of the Force, and it's really soft sci-fi in a lot of ways, but it's also this hard sci-fi in a couple ways, and it's strange.
I completely agree with that.
That's the combination.
And
of it.
the priestesses stuff really confused the shit out of me. I had no idea what was going on with that.
It's basically the Catholic Church.
I understand the metaphor that he's trying to go for. I just didn't understand like their powers within that universe, like because
they have the voice. They have
the voice.
They
was
have
something.
the voice, and they also have prescience. They can see the future. To
Okay,
a limited
and
extent.
these beings have that power, and they can pass it on to their descendants.
They are more.
They pass it on to the descendants, and they selectively breed to make sure that only women have it, which is why Paul is such a big deal, because he's a man that has it, which is like a sign of the Messiah.
Okay. And I believe that Lady Jessica says at one point that through thousands of years, these women have been carefully breeding to create the one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which is like so 80s to be like, oh, you know what makes this guy special? All these people have superpowers. You know what makes this one special? He's a man. He's a guy.
I mean, it was written in the 60s.
He's got
so
a big old dick.
you want to rewind that a bit?
Big old dick.
It's the 60s, because that's when the book was written.
oh, well, yeah, I only exist in movies. Books don't real.
You know, it was
Books
awesome.
don't real is what I said.
Okay. You're an idiot.
Well, listen, why do you have to look at it that way? Why can't you look at this from the fact of like, this was in the 60s, kind of free love, whatever.
Oh,
like,
no, I was
era,
joking. I didn't mean.
And basically, you know, this is like a very effeminate man, right? Like embracing kind of his feminine power.
How old is he supposed to
Right?
be?
He's basically this is a guy who draws his power from a solely feminine thing. It's not so much a degradation of taking them out of it, but more about like males embracing the more effeminate sides of themselves, which
You're
I think,
saying Dune gets rid of toxic masculinity.
well, I think it's more of like, yeah, in the sense of like you embrace your inner, you know, Timothy Charlemagne.
By the way, the actual like
I just wish he had emotions.
The actual
And I do.
explanation they give is related to the chromosomes.
Okay.
Yeah, because women don't have an XY chromosome, they're only allowed to see along their ancestors' line, so they can only see like women because they only have X chromosome, whereas men have the Y chromosome, so they can view both ancestry lines.
Okay, interesting. So him having this power makes him like incredibly like magnitudes more powerful than the women?
Yeah.
Because he can see past his ancestors with the Y chromosome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hard science answer
Now,
to a soft
another question I
sci-fi
had
thing.
was the I don't remember what they called her, but the woman who
The Bene
was
Gesserit?
but the big one.
I love that name too. Like this is where it's weird. Like the
They've got some good names in here.
Gesserit is such a cool
so Dune is
sci-fi
weird.
name. And then there's like Lady Jessica,
Dune
which
is
I love.
weird.
Lady like something, but not Jessica.
So Dune is weird because a lot of like the naming conventions are specifically chosen from like a nationality in our world, because I think like it actually does take place in our world just fucking 8,000 years
The
in
year
the
is
future.
10,182, I believe.
So like the spice is known as spice
Right.
melange,
10,191.
which is actually a French word for mixture of spice.
Oh, neat.
I think if you
And
don't
like
have a
Bene Gesserit, that's Italian.
I think if you don't have a good idea of what the spice is, then it makes it really does make a lot more sense as a general idea when you fully understand what the spice is. Because I don't think they do a great job of explaining it, but they do tell you the story visually, because this story does have a lot of respect, which is why I think it's good for like the critic, viewer who is like, no, they tell you, they show you a lot of stuff. They don't tell you.
Yes.
And it's all there, and it's like, so they need the spice.
Yes, the
for
spice is-
interstellar travel, which means they need to fucking get blitzed high on the spice,
Yeah,
like he does, like all crazy, in order for them to like navigate.
Yeah, the space guild,
interstellar.
They use spice to get
gateways.
high and travel through hyperspace.
That's what the spice does.
Yep.
It's not It's not a fuel. It's a fuel for the pilots, essentially, to allow them to like navigate the space-time continuum.
See,
yeah, and
again,
they have special
like-
navigators that get super disfigured because they use it so much.
It really humanizes the like destruction that like oil or like a natural gas or something would have as a metaphor, even though they're also doing the metaphor, if that doesn't work, on the level of like Dune or whatever fucking planet it is, Arrakis would be like a tropical like island place if not for them harvesting the.
This is why we keep you around, D, for insights like this.
So, like, I'm sure he could tell you that, but, like, it's a matter of, like, what as a viewer who was just like, I don't get it. I get it. They're after dust. It's like petrol. It's like gas. It's whatever. They're all after it. Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, the whole, like, magistry and the whole, like, political nature of, like, you are taking control of this, and it's a political ploy because they're getting Atreides.
The Emperor gives the fief of Arrakis to
They tell it really
Atreides.
quickly, but they do tell it, and it's only because I watched this like 6 times. Certain scenes where it's like, I think I really did feel like I got it the first time, where it was like they're too up and coming. They're too like high on
they're extremely popular
for the unknown empire, right? Like we don't see shit for that except for
you only see like his vassals.
So like whatever that is, they're just like this dude, fucking Atreides, like Leto, this dapper looking, just excellent dude.
He's new money, and we got to get rid of him.
This Ned Stark, but awesome.
That's exactly the comparison I made watching the movie.
Is just like I'm so good looking and awesome, and just like he's just like, no, fuck this guy. I'm gonna take it away from essentially like sci-fi kingpin. I'm gonna take like the guy who runs all
Straight
my
on.
shit. Hey, buddy, and I feel like he's doing double duty, where it's just like. You know who else is fucking a problem? This dude. Like, you know what? I get that you run all the shady shit. That's what I pay you for. Like, you're fucking kingpin. Yeah, I get it. You run all the oil. You do all the shit, but stay the fucking line. I'm going to make you deal with this shit. Like, he's in charge now. Fuck you. Like, and that's what he's saying. And
Probably.
and he's like, okay, cool. I guess they threw me the keys to the castle. This is like being Secretary of State before you make a run for president.
Sure.
This is that like that like that's how I think it's like framed to him. And I don't think they did a great job of telling this story, but I think that story would be incredibly boring to tell.
Yeah.
They pit two large houses against each other.
And and they're like, one of you, no matter who comes out alive, you're both gonna learn or whoever's in charge still has to run the spice and is gonna be fucking sidetracked by that shit.
See, but I don't. You see, I genuinely like the story and the world and all of it in it. I just wish it wasn't told by boring robots.
I completely disagree with that statement. I thought every actor did a great job.
I think the
What do you
actors did
mean? What are you
fine.
talking about?
I just think everything's delivered in like a monotone, slow sort of like
It's
like.
except for
Well, yeah. I
was
would
monotone
say
too.
I would say the only person who doesn't do that is Jason
Can I
Momoa
just
and the bear.
interject very briefly?
Yeah.
I have it set on my computer for color waveforms depending on what frequency is hit, and D just made a very beautiful rainbow with that voice of his. Thank you, buddy. Continue your point, Troy. I'm sorry.
But I just, I followed things that people were talking about. I just at a certain point I went, I just can't listen to these people talk anymore. Like none of them, and I like every actor in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think that they all did a good job. I think that there was just a director on the side who was just like, hey, you got to tone it down. There was too much emotion in that scene. Like it just felt like it was a whole movie of Hayden Christensen.
I get what you're saying a lot about this. I think that how many times did you just watch it once?
I just watched it one time.
I do think
Watch it again.
I do
No.
think that like are we selling you on this? Is this what's happening now?
I'm turning tides.
I think we're just selling Jeff on Dune, not necessarily the movie.
No, I think that this is in there in the story, and I think that Troy I get it. I think it's all in there, and I think if you just like this is a great background thing. Like it's beautiful to just watch, and then like to see some of the scenes when you kind of understand the world that they're in fully a little bit more. The more you reveal about this, like I think the more movies you have, the more context you're gonna have, the more you're gonna be like, oh, like imagine watching this. It's like watching any Star Wars now, where it's like that Anakin is that Darth Vader is Anakin. You get all that, and like you kind of can look at it from that context. I think this is only going to gain in its holding your hand while you go through it, and like a lot of the stuff and performance that's being lost in translation will work. I think they know what they're doing. Like I'm like,
I think they know what they're
okay.
doing. I just think it
Okay.
did nothing that whenever a character's talking, I just am like not, and it's mostly talking.
I think that, like I said, I think that there's more subtle things happening in those that are way more appreciated when you're like, oh shit, the first movie, like where that was like, because like come on, like some of these things are visually just awesome, like the dresses that are like flowing in the
all
wind, like it's
super
just
cool.
amazing to be like seeing that. And
I wanted to like it because of the world.
Right.
I think you'll enjoy part 2 more because it's a lot less talking.
I don't even mind that it's talking. I just want people to be more interesting who are talking.
Okay.
I don't think I think they did it right though. You got they got Timothy
Chalamet.
Chalamet.
You got it.
Timothy Charlemagne.
Timothy Chalamet, and we shout out who shall not be named. Shall not be named. Is amazingly charismatic, and they get all these. The only weird part was Jason Momoa without facial hair.
Yeah, that was a little shocking to see him without facial hair. But
Didn't bother me.
He's
the only thing that didn't bother me.
No, you know what else? But
it was just shocking.
You know
I
what
didn't
really
hate it.
bothered me about the lack of facial hair? It was he didn't have a tan. Like he's never had that, so it was really white. It was not so much that it was like no tan. It was no beard. It was just that like you're so pale. Like it was pale Jason Momoa, who is a piece of shit, and I could take in a fight easily.
So yeah, absolutely, take him in a fight. I mean, it only took like what 14 dudes
100th
to take him down.
episode.
100th episode. Yeah, fuck Jason Momoa.
Arguably.
I mean, Duncan Idaho is like the best swordsman in all of Dune.
Literally, when he died, I went, I think I'm tuning out. Like,
I-
he was the one I was following the whole time.
I could not disagree with you more, and I love this because conflict is the fuel of my life force. It felt like every time Timothy Chalamet was talking, there was emotion behind his voice, whether
Absolutely
it was
not.
conflict or sadness or some
100%
longing.
incorrect.
No, absolutely not. No, every line was full of emotion. I literally got that every time he opened his mouth.
He talks about his father and my father's dead. I have one tear.
I literally don't know what you're talking about. I think we watched different movies.
That's what he has just the same face. His face never changes in the movie.
That's so wrong.
His face literally doesn't change in the movie.
I mean, it's not Face Off, of course not.
He never becomes Nicolas Cage.
That is a different movie. You're right. Chris, how do you feel? You're the tiebreaker here. Come on. Emotion, no emotion? How'd you feel?
So no emotion is sort of Dune's thing, just because like the whole thing is centered around Arrakis, which sort of weathers down people to like basic survival, which is why the Fremen are so terrifying to fight. So it's sort of in universe for them to sort of do that, which is why I think you'll enjoy the second one, because it has a lot more action and a lot more like emotional scenes to really draw that out.
Right.
I feel like the second one is where we'll finally get that fight scene in the trailers of the white soldiers versus the tan soldiers.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And he says that in that vision, there's a bunch of soldiers taking up arms in his father's name and like worshiping at his father's skull or something. And I'm just like, what the fuck's going on here? I want to learn more about these people. Chris is just smiling to himself because he clearly knows how this plays out, and we do not, as the viewers of a movie and not readers of a book. But I I guess I just interpreted it differently. I'm not saying your opinion is invalid. Of course not. I'd never say that. But
Well, you would say that.
He's
not
just
here.
really saying that your opinion is like not valid.
Right. No, I think that's valid.
I just don't like. It seems like every other scene Lady Jessica was in, she was like crying or nervous or scared or something.
Having tears roll down a stoic face.
Okay. Here's a question, because I've done a little bit of a deep dive.
How did she manage to cry monotonely? How did she do that?
I know she did that though.
I've done a little bit of a deep dive into the history of Dune and how much of have you just read the first book?
I've read the first book. I've not read past that. I know generally what happens.
You do. Okay, so me too. So like, does that kind of answer some of the stuff? Do you think
answer what specifically?
Like Troy's kind of like read on Lady Jessica's
monotone crying.
Just like her the way, not her acting, because I think her acting's fine, but I also have an understanding of what's going on.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Troy, because I'm interpreting what you were saying.
Yeah.
I think your complaint is not that the actors weren't doing their job, but just that the material they were getting fed was wrong or off.
I don't even know if that's it.
Your comparison to Hayden Christensen was that like.
I think what Troy's saying is like they got bad stage directions.
I don't even.
Yeah.
So it's weird because I don't even think that's it. Because like with the only difference with that in Hayden Christensen is Hayden Christensen I think got bad stage directions, and I think that he's coming back into a bunch of Star Wars shows soon.
I'm excited.
And
for
I
that.
think with like Jon Favreau behind him and stuff like that, like he'll probably be pretty good. But on the other side, I think that Dune necessitates that type of acting. I just think that the way everybody interacts with each other is 100% not for me. Like, I like the entire world. I like all of the. I actually even would say that in a different format would like the characters.
Can I ask you this much?
Yeah.
How do you think that Lady Jessica is playing a lot? Like, do you read nothing on her face? Like, what are you reading that she's going through it?
I know
like,
what they're going
where
for.
Give me a scene where she's reacting to something where you're like, you're doing nothing.
So I don't even think that they're doing nothing. I just think that there's not enough charisma in
Be
the
more
thing.
specific to a scene.
What are you even
tell me
saying
a
at this
scene.
point?
Tell me a scene
because we don't
you're
know.
talking about. Yeah. Tell me a scene you're talking about, like when like we just watched one, right? Like with where
Leto's death,
where essentially she is sensing that Leto has died. That is clearly being transmitted to Paul as well.
I think she put the pieces together when Paul unwrapped the father's ring.
And I understand that, and he looks at the ring and he realizes that he's now responsible for the entire house that no longer exists. Everybody's dead.
Okay, so what about her reaction here that is like wrong? Like,
I just don't like watching it.
So what do you think she's going for here? Like, what is her reaction?
It's like a my husband's dead, now my son has to bear a lot more responsibility than he was ever sort of born to do. I'm sort of responsible for it because of his whole birthright and the powers and everything. That, like, I feel like I get it.
What if there was perfect, exactly, yes. Right? So what if there was an completely other level of that was not on the page yet? Like,
what do you mean?
What if there was a whole other level of what she's going through that's not on the page yet?
I'm on this page though.
Right, I know, but I'm saying that, like, what if the reaction that you like? So, oh my gosh, I don't know how to put this in other ways. Like, what if, like, you're watching this, like, and you're watching a scene with like Leia and Luke, and you're like, oh, well, it's different now that I know how this goes.
Right, but the first scene I saw them in, I still liked it.
Okay, all right, fine. Even the kissing scene.
I don't.
Yes, I love that. That's the way I like most.
That makes sense. You're fucking.
Troy was actually born in
man.
Alabama.
Oh, that explains the banjos every time he walks in and out of a room.
Also, the fact that Troy has no teeth.
We should get a banjo thing
Wait,
on the soundboard.
is that the opening guitar riff? Never mind. Anyway,
no.
okay, so Well, okay, fine. I agree with you. She's very bland and nun-like as they are. I love the nun scene. Who's like
I like the nun.
The super nun
That's
super nun
in black.
That's
Super
probably
nun
the
black.
first.
He is not wrong.
That's probably the first time where I was sort of like, okay, I'm into this. It's starting to pick up again. Like things
What
are.
was she doing to him with his hand trapped in the box?
So
The subtitles said there was a whirring sound, and I kind of heard something happening, but like, what was going on to his hand?
She
it
was
just
making him
induces
experience pain.
Yeah, it was just increasing levels of pain.
Mm.
And if he like removes his hands from the box and like gets out from that pain, he's killed on the spot.
I would imagine that it feels like your hand is being eaten down to the bone. I mean, what else could it be?
I was hoping there was like
I
an
mean,
Just being
explanation.
eaten away by bugs.
I
I'd
mean,
imagine.
to Troy, it'd probably be like if you had to watch through the Dune movie.
Oh,
No,
that's pretty painful, apparently.
There's the other thing, is I don't even dislike this movie. I just wanted to get out that point that's
Okay.
the thing I disliked about it. I am
Which
more,
is fine.
I
am
agree,
more-
and I did zone out after a number of those scenes because eventually it's just Paul and Lady Jessica and just eye contact. And,
Yeah, when
and-
they're in the
and-
tent in the desert.
and she doesn't have she doesn't have the hair in the wind like flickering just perfectly that he does. I don't know what it is, but he's like there's like a glow to his. I'm like, oh, it's
Because his
interesting.
destiny is now revealed to him through his visions.
Mhm.
Did you know that Gambit in X-Men is supposed to have like a hypnotic charm, and also anyone around Longshot, the character Longshot, is supposed to like kind of like any female around him is supposed to kind of like just immediately be attracted to him.
Those are some weird superpowers.
Right? It's weird, but
How
I
is it
also
relevant?
it's relevant because I feel like that's actually a literal superpower that Timothy Chalamet has. Because like I'm just like this guy, like, and then you're like, why are you so charismatic? Why do I want to look at you?
I do want to keep looking at him whenever he's on screen. He does capture my attention.
It feels like any moment now you're gonna do something.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's why I said like his
I don't wanna miss
casting's like straight on. When I imagine
I'm
Paul,
still not in that ballpark. I'm like, oh, look at that.
You're playing
block,
another
look
sport.
at that
Get
block
out.
of wood. Look at it's gonna sit there and do nothing in the
Now you
sunlight.
know how we feel, Troy.
Jesus. Fucking roasted. Oof. Speaking of ballpark, Atlanta Braves going to the World Series. Woo! And that's the last I'll talk about baseball because I know you guys don't care. All right. Unless they win the series, then I won't shut up about it. Anyway, so Chris, my other question to you about backstory. So Paul talks to his mother about the Chosen One because they say that to him and her as they come to
Neo.
Arrakis for the first time. And he implies with kind of a snark to it that the sisters like started that rumor, and then they spread it throughout the universe.
Yep. So the Bene Gesserit is trying to build like a cult of personality around this Messiah-like figure.
Cult of I'm not doing the whole bit, but that's a song. Anyway, continue.
So wait. I got the impression that the Super Nun though was not into it though. Like that like
She's
Lady
not-
Jessica
she's not
was
into
like.
it because
like, yeah, my boy, all that shit, and then like she was like, don't think your boy's all that shit. Don't be so ahead of yourself. Although,
Don't you just hate it when
he
nuns
seems to be
talk to you
totally
like that?
bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
all
right?
That shit.
Apparently,
totally-
I knew different nuns growing up.
He totally appears to be all that shit, but don't get ahead of yourself. He's not all that shit yet.
So
This dude, he ain't shit.
to answer your question, she didn't like that Paul was this Messiah-like figure because they wanted someone they could control. Paul was not planned by them.
But she was like, but he pretty hot.
Yes, because he has that Gambit charm.
Sure.
He's Gambit.
Totes.
Sure. I would cast Timothy Chalamet as Gambit. But so the nuns did start that.
They
the
started-
Bene Gesserit, excuse me. They started
that rumor with the intent that they would basically build their own Messiah to lead humanity to whatever future they want.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, I really want to see Timothy Chalamet.
everything that you've told me about the Bene Gesserit is building them up to be some shadowy secret organization that I'm going to hate
Like the
and that
Jedi.
have sinister intentions.
Like the Jedi.
So you will hate them. Like they're not moralistically wrong.
The more I get,
they sound like Templars.
the more I feel
from
like about
the
this
Assassin's
thing,
Creed
this
games.
is like
Their
this is
intent-
Star Wars meets Game of Thrones, like, but not as gruesome.
and
But, like,
also, this came first.
but
Yeah,
that's
a lot
But
first.
I know, but I'm saying like mix the two.
Yes.
And you're not far off because if you go to the PG-ness and sometimes genus.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And sometimes genius of Star Wars to the sometimes gruesome and realistic and political. Like it is this weird medium between the two. Like
I definitely
if you give it some
think-
sense, where you're like, okay, it had some unexpected consequences of just being slow. But I see potential, and if they just let this go, this might be really interesting. Because there's no way they clearly are intending to do more than one of these.
Yeah.
Yes, and I do think you have a point with the whole inspiring Game of Thrones Star Wars thing, because the nuns are very clearly Jedi, and Leto Atreides,
Yes, Leto
Atreides is clearly Ned Stark. He's a Yankee in King Arthur's court, rising house, gets thrown into a situation he can't control, and he ends up getting way in over his head and getting killed. Betrayed, actually, by the doctor. Dr. Ewan, I think was his name.
Yep.
My guess is that there's not enough text to flesh this out without, like, there's a ton of text, but it's not character text. You'd have to fill the storyline out.
They have to fill
with
out
a bunch of
so
bullshit.
much world building.
If you wanted to do like what maybe people think you should do, which is like, oh, do a series. Well, then how are you telling the story of world building that's like you have to fill it in with characters and things going on, and it's like you're just adding and further complicating the already complicated issue.
Yeah, like in the
So
Encyclopedia
this
of
might
Dune.
actually really work as like portions of movies,
Yeah.
where it doesn't
I'll
actually
really
work
love.
better.
I'll really love movie 4.
I think you like the. I think that
Movie
what
4 is
we're
going to get
seeing-
weird.
I think I think what you're gonna see is that when there's a movie 4, 1 through 3 are gonna be fucking amazing, and like I think by the next movie it's gonna be like really.
I don't know, because I
it's
don't
gonna
do
be
that a whole lot with movies in general.
Do you know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be Dark Knight to the Batman Begins. Like people really took notice of the Christopher Nolan stuff once Dark Knight came out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And Batman Begins is arguably the better one, like in pacing and storytelling and all kinds, and just world building and doing the whole thing. Like they do so much heavy lifting and still make that movie awesome. But Dark Knight gets all the praise because of Heath Ledger. And
what's Dark Knight Rises got?
and
Nothing. Fuck that movie.
Charles, what you mean?
I
That's the greatest
despise Dark Knight
performance of all
Rises.
time.
Oh, Jeffrey.
That's a good use of props.
I mean, that's all you need to do Bane.
You cannot just do Tom Hardy voices that easy.
That's a really good Venom.
It is not that easy, Tom.
Is D breaking the case wide open? Is D
Yeah.
proving
He's
that
cracked
Tom
the case.
Hardy isn't?
think we can make it that easy.
He's
Can
cracked
you
the
do
code.
Mad Max?
I think we can do that easy.
Oh my goodness.
Was it this way?
Here's my Mad Max impression. You ready?
it?
I got Mad Max in the barrel. Ready? Here you go. There you go. That's Mad Max.
I liked that.
Thank
that
you.
was hot. I
Thank
liked
you.
it. Is that who Charlie's Theron plays?
No, no, that's Furiosa. Mad Max was Tom Hardy's character in that movie, and Mel Gibson's character in the 3 movies before.
You know who's hot? The Ron.
The Ron?
Yeah.
Is that like The Rock's little brother?
No, Charles the Ron.
Charlize Theron. Okay.
The Ron's
The Ron is actually Captain Ron, Kurt Russell. Was it Kurt Russell?
Yep.
It was.
Yeah,
good.
I
Kurt
thought so.
Russell.
Okay, cool.
Well, how do you want to spend the rest of your life as a battery? That got my whole new Kurt Russell. That's my new Kurt Russell line. This is the first I'm hearing about it.
So I will say, beyond everything else, I thought parts of this movie seemed like they used suspenseful music when it wasn't really necessary. Like when they approached the city for the very first time, and we see the sweeping shot of the city and the buildings. It's very like suspenseful music. Like I was on the edge of my seat, and I didn't need to be. I'm just seeing the city. Nothing sinister was
city?
happening. Arrakis.
Well,
Or, like,
that's the planet. They didn't name the city. I don't believe a lot of the cities on Arrakis get names until
I don't
later
remember
on.
a city at all.
Yeah, but when they got to the city,
The place where
Maybe
Timothy
the one-
Chalamet lives.
Okay, baby.
yeah, the big city where they were trying to, be a government and do things.
I'm sorry, I'm also watching Foundation, and there's a lot of similarities between all this, so it's kind of all mixing together. But yeah.
Okay.
Basically, it's a spice refining
Sure.
facility that they basically live out of.
Some of the music felt a little off, but a lot of it was also really good. Like when Dr. Keyes is like looking out over the dunes, and then that song just plays, and it's like some very, very.
I didn't mind it at all. It was just that there was something off with sound. I don't know if that affected your levels or if you guys change your levels.
They had a
on
lot
sound.
of percussive instruments in this orchestra.
There was too much of a differential, too much during the for a technically sound movie in a lot of ways, like the cinematography, the lighting, like there was so much good.
Cinematography was on fucking point.
And
Cinematography,
honestly,
casting on point.
The more and more I really want to give props to the wardrobe departments that when
for
they're
sure.
good, like they
Still
won.
suits spot on.
They were so cool. I loved how they explained them. It made
Yeah,
perfect
they
sense.
actually
were
explained
sleek,
it like they do
were
in
good.
the movies.
Everybody
Not in the movies,
looks-
in the book.
Everybody
I knew what
looks
you meant.
Thank you.
awesome.
What is a book but a mind
I
movie?
get that.
I mean, to me,
First of all, in a time where you released a movie where you could have easily had people wearing masks, like so much more, like it's a cool aesthetic that they can continue to build up and. Like shit, like this aesthetic of the Dune wasteland, like it's the right time. Like it's just like that look is cool and it is post-apocalyptic, and we are post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, a little bit. I'll also say that look is huge right now in a popular online game you guys may have heard of called Fortnite. They released the
what's that?
Timothy Chalamet, Paul, and Zendaya's character, whose name I don't know if got dropped.
I'm not sure if
It's
they
a
meant.
sequel to Threat Night.
I think they might have like mentioned it at the very end. Her name is Chani.
Chani. So Chani and Paul's
Racist.
suits with masks on or
Yep,
off
still
are
suits.
in Fortnite, and you can do the sand walk as an emote. And I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty neat, actually."
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. My fiance and I have been playing a lot of Fortnite lately. Duos. We've been winning a lot too.
The Sandwalk. Yeah.
Yeah. So the sandwalk, I really enjoyed that aspect of it because, like, it does make sense that the sandworms are attracted to rhythm because rhythm means a person walking.
Tremors.
or
It's where Tremors got their idea.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon learned the sandwalk.
Honestly, I'm seeing this movie and I'm seeing how many things I'm like, oh, this is in that movie or this is
Wait,
in
the
that
Kenny
book.
Loggins song.
Yes, and but like, it's really it's really cool to me looking at like the source material for all these things I know and love.
This built a lot of pop culture over the years.
Right, and I think that's one of the reasons it's so well received and loved many years later is just that this was the building blocks that George R. R. Martin and George Lucas used.
Is this inspiration for Walk Like an Egyptian?
Yes, directly.
Was that the
yes.
Bangles? I think that was the Bangles.
No, it's a football
Walk
team.
like an
Oh.
Egyptian.
Man, I thought, and they inspired that snack, the Bugles.
America's number
that's-
one finger
no,
hat.
that's J. Jonah Jameson.
Okay, that makes
Daily
sense.
Bugle. Yeah.
Oh, crossover with Venom. Go watch. Go
Venom.
watch Venom. Go
Gonna
download
go
our
and get 'em.
download our episode of Venom.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say go watch Venom, but yeah, download our episode.
You
of
can
Venom.
just watch the episode.
Our episode of
You can
Venom
just-
was fucking
there's-
huge. It did
there's
like
n-
killer numbers.
There's
wow.
no spoilers in it either. It's just there's no spoilers for the movie in general.
Yeah, if you know someone that likes Venom, you can just have them listen to our podcast.
Carnage is in Fortnite
Also
this
on
season too.
Also on
Yeah, I
YouTube.
expected
You can
that.
play as Carnage. I've been really into
it's
Fortnite
actually
lately.
it's pronounced Carnage.
Carnage.
Can we get to the story about how you got
Oh,
raped?
Yeah,
in-
so
what happened?
At the end, so I believe you two, before we get to Chris's personal life, I want to say you guys have flipped me from thumbs down to a thumbs up in the course of this podcast. I talked to Chris, had some questions answered. I'm now a solid thumbs up. I'm excited for part 2. Like
Yeah.
that happened. Congratulations.
I like when we don't like Troy.
I also like when you don't like Troy.
What was the movie that you all watched and loved that I hated and I was the odd man out? What was
All
that?
of them. So many. At
don't
this stage,
remember.
you really have not liked anything.
That's not true.
N-
No, I'm usually
it
pretty
wasn't
positive.
the last time I
I think
remember
it was Space
the
Jam 2.
Another episode that did killer numbers for
the
us.
last time I can think about it was the What If episodes.
Right. I was completely checked out on What If, and you guys were all digging it. So it's fine. I like having a little bit of dissenting
I
opinions.
also want to point out I expected to come into this kind of defending. I expected to talk about my character rant at first, and then defending it from you, specifically Jeff.
No.
And then it never came.
I
The
watched
hatred
this with
never
a very
came.
open mind, knowing that I knew nothing about the universe, and that I have a feeling that if I had watched this at home with Chris, I would have paused it every 10 minutes and asked him questions.
I have a question for you. How excited were you for this going into it?
Middling. I was like, oh, Dune's coming out, and I know that's a huge property.
I wonder if that has anything to do with it, because this is maybe the thing I was most excited about this year, other than maybe Spider-Man.
There's a lot
I was
of stuff.
extremely excited to see this.
Yeah.
And it delivered.
I'm glad you really enjoyed it for once.
I gotta.
You're
say
usually
with,
the negative Nancy.
honestly, with all of this, I have to say the biggest thing coming out of this is that we have to cover Foundation. Like, you guys are going to like Foundation.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
if you like this, and if you like some harder, like a little bit of harder sci-fi to it, they're doing and if you can look at Lee Pace for a while because he's awesome, like you're gonna kind of like this show. I think this is the shit. It's time to get on.
Okay. It is a time to get on. So you've changed me to a thumbs up. I've enjoyed this movie.
Unless you want to do Ted Lasso, because I'm still doing that.
We can do all of it and just upload a million episodes. Who cares?
Lasso.
It's our podcast. We can do it.
A million episodes? A million episodes is a little.
A million episodes, Morty.
I don't think Rogan's at a million episodes. All right, so Chris, your personal life. Let's go for it. What about Maryland?
So the state of Maryland fucked me.
The whole state.
The police department, at least.
Whoa! All right.
Has you or someone you know been fucked by a state?
Call us.
Wait, what state's the best fuck?
So just so we know, Maryland fucks.
Florida's shaped like a penis. There's no way it doesn't fuck.
Yeah, but it's also filled with crazy people in swamps.
Like every STI.
It's like the John Holmes of states. Go ahead.
You think it's crabs, but it's mini crocodiles. Okay.
How did the state of Maryland?
I'm on the other side of the country,
you.
over on the West Coast, visiting my girlfriend. I get a call from my mother. Her first words to me in that call are,
That's all right. I don't know if that actually is going to play. But
it just sounds like everybody started laughing at something that got bleeped. Anyway.
Wow, I can't believe you said that super offensive thing, Chris.
I can't believe your mother said, what a nice lady. I never would have guessed that she would have said.
Well, don't repeat it.
I'm sorry.
Jesus
Stop
Christ.
saying it.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
You have to edit that out.
Man.
So to actually tell my story, the first words out of her mouth are, the police would like to speak with you.
Okay.
So I'm like, what the fuck has happened?
And
Wait,
you're
where are
on the
you?
West Coast.
I'm on the West Coast.
And your mother from the East Coast is
of
calling.
Maryland, the West Coast of Maryland.
No, the West Coast of the U.S. West Coast of the world, sorry.
I thought you went to Maryland recently.
No.
Okay.
At no point have I been in Maryland.
I thought your girl was like way further away.
She is.
Yeah, she's
Different
on
time
the
zone.
West Coast.
Now I get it. I'm on board.
So why do the police want to talk to you?
So she puts me on the line with the police officer, who asked me if my car is mine because he says that my car has been reported as stolen.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
You stole a car?
No, I didn't.
Your car has been reported as stolen.
The state of Maryland stole his car.
I purchased this car from a dealer. It's not even like a third-party sale.
For the record, guys,
man.
Chris drives a 1989 Ford Mustang.
For the record,
And the license plate is...
Chris is shady as F.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so obviously something's not...
Get on. Go on.
Obviously something's not fucking right here.
Obviously.
So he's asking me questions like, have you ever been to Maryland? Have you ever been to Maryland with this car? Have you been to Maryland recently? No.
And this guy just called you on the phone?
No. My mom put him on.
So did he show up at your mom's house?
Still, wait.
No, my mom was using my car while I was
Still.
away.
Still, though.
So
wait.
she got pulled over
She got pulled over.
in
In your
what
car.
they thought was a stolen
in
vehicle.
your car. In your car.
In my car.
In your car. And she's like, he's like, you're the owner of this car.
She talked to her. She said, like, this is
guy
my son's
has
car.
your mother on the side of the road. Is this what is happening?
Yes.
Yes, along with 6 other police cars.
And he's
Jesus
like,
Christ.
And he's like, do you know this woman?
yes.
And
like,
you're like,
verified that we were related.
and you're like, Mom, listen, I'm going to make this all go away. Just open up your phone, transfer over. I just need $500.
That's a cheap bribe.
No, okay. God, so holy shit.
Yeah, so
Go on.
there are 7 police cars pulling this woman over,
Jesus Christ.
which is my mom.
She's got to be like, what, 102?
Jesus, man.
No, way off.
It's like
63.
She's 63. Nailed it.
And
Nailed
she's
it.
probably shitting her pants. I'm sure I would be.
She's
She's
not
very
that
nervous.
old, man.
They're not. I didn't mean like an incontinence thing.
You're weird. Listen, she's a nice lady.
She's a very
She's
nice
a very
lady.
nice lady. I know her well.
She doesn't deserve this.
I know her very well.
By this, I mean Chris is his son.
Yeah. So the police officer is like, okay, I'm going to look into this. Don't go anywhere. And he's going to.
What do you mean? Don't
And
go
you're
anywhere.
like-
You're 3,000 miles away.
You're like, is California okay?
Pretty much.
Oh my god! What the fuck?
So
I want to cross
I'm at my girlfriend's house.
13 state lines.
I'm at my girlfriend's house,
Many
just
of
sitting
them
in the
twice.
office, like, what the fuck is happening? So he finally calls me back. Do you want to know what happened? The state of Maryland mistyped the license plate. So two people
And we
got
wonder
fucked
why
over.
there's still documentaries on shit from 60 years ago.
So a clerical error.
Yeah, a clerical error happened.
What
So-
does the church have to do with this?
Everything.
No, that's a clerical error.
Oh, my bad.
Oh.
I get it.
So two people got fucked here. The person who actually reported their vehicle as stolen, the Maryland police have not been looking for that
Oh
vehicle.
my god.
Oh shit!
Second of all, I learned that
Listen, I learned that the same thing can happen with Amber Alerts, and if you hear anything, that's probably why.
and
Wait a minute.
Wait, hold up.
Hold on a second. No.
But can you imagine? That's my first thought is like,
like if
fucking
somebody
A, they just got rowdy on the phone with you while you were out of town. And
Oh no,
as
the
they
officer
held
was
your...
absolutely lovely to me and my mother. Like as soon as he realized something was up, but I think as he
But
was walking
what
up
if-
to the car, he
what-
realized something wasn't right.
What if you weren't white?
Yeah, really.
Yep.
He realized how white you were, and
Yep.
that he's like, they couldn't
Yeah.
have stolen anything.
Guys.
Yeah. So they're not looking for the
sorry,
car in
one
Maryland.
woman.
They never were. Instead, they were looking for my car. I learned out that the vehicle was reported stolen back in August.
Jesus, what the fuck?
I've been driving around. I've passed cars, not pulled over. I leave for a week and a half. My mom, 7 police cars,
There's
get in
a-
after her.
There's a bunch of cops that passed you, and they're like, "Oh, there goes that stolen car again."
So there might be some logic to that, where it's like in the immediate time of August, they were probably only searching Maryland. They really
Maybe.
expanded the search
Maybe.
to surrounding states after it's been a little while.
Still, that's like a month and a half.
Police work is really
Wait a
slow.
minute. What does this have to do with the state of Maryland? Was your mother in Maryland?
Because it was reported stolen in the state of
In
Maryland.
Maryland.
Areas
And so
and
the-
Maryland fucked it up.
why,
the
did
Maryland-
why was your mom pulled over?
Because she's driving a car.
What's
that's
her name? I'm sorry.
He's
call her-
gone.
What's your social security number?
Mrs. Chris? Mrs. Chris?
Mrs.
Let's go.
Carroll.
Mrs. Carroll. Okay.
What was your question?
What did she get pulled over? Why is she pulled over? Because
Because the car, the license, is
the
reported.
guy just pulled her over because he was like,
because
That plate matches the
boom,
one reported.
I
on the plate.
saw a
the
license
plate. Yes, they have automatic scanners that says oh, that's listed as stolen in Maryland.
their car comes up to your car and immediately scans it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I feel like I'm explaining the plot of Dune again.
Yeah, right.
like, fucked up.
Anyway.
kind of fucked up.
Very.
I'm kind of like, yeah, bud.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's not
fair.
like it's not
Like,
like
how often does this happen? But the first time I'm hearing about it, it happened. like, seriously though, how many? Like, that's not a good enough reason to pull you over. Like, you have to be doing something fucking wrong.
well, they
you
think-
have to
Are
be
you saying?
fucking
Are you
up.
saying that the police system
They
in
think it's a
America
case
might
of
not
Grand
be perfect?
Theft Auto.
I'm saying
They think that it's
because
stolen
of,
property.
This is because of a clerical error,
Yeah.
though. But it's not public
here-
property.
here's the thing.
And
The people-
you did nothing wrong.
People that
This is not there. That's I'm just gonna say it's not okay. You're right. I want to defend you.
the state of Maryland fucked up. The police that pulled her over, they were just doing what they
so
thought
you know,
was right.
Just so you know.
Oh, here we go.
Let me finish
Just
the fucking
so
story.
you know.
You're not,
Let me
this
finish.
isn't the end.
No,
What else
it's
cool
not.
happens?
So
Or is it like
the
Dune?
officer,
So my
the
mom's
officer-
in a police chase, right?
the officer tells me how to get this fucking fixed with the state of Maryland. So I have to call them. The person that
He's like, just
actually
give me
handles
your
this error
social
doesn't
security
get in
number.
until midnight. So I need to call them up. Luckily, because I'm on the West Coast, I can call at 9 p.m. and it'll be midnight there, so they can get it rectified. But here's the thing.
What does the rectory have to do with this?
because my license plate was reported as stolen, that license plate is now dead. I can't use that license plate anymore. I need to get a new one.
Wait, what?
Along with my registration.
What?
So, guess what I have to do tomorrow? I already called out of work to take care of it.
No.
And I'm going to make the state of Maryland pay for it.
Mr. Carroll, what you need to do on Monday morning is talk to your lawyer. This is, I'm not even joking. Everything you described to me is fucking horrible, and I am not the person to sit there and be like, oh, well, like I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt. No, that's fucked up. What had me? You had me until it scanned it, clerical error. This is systematic.
Mm-hmm.
This is a systematic problem.
Mm.
It's clearly just I'm not fucking joking. Stop looking at me like I'm crazy. This is not okay. You shouldn't have to be dealing with any of this shit.
I agree.
And you should 100% just go see a lawyer. Just go explain this. And let them handle it.
Yeah.
No, what you have to do...
In the meantime, I sort of need a new license plate because I need to drive my car.
That's perfect. That'll all be a part of it.
What you need to do...
But you're on you're on the top of like a multi-billion-dollar life. There's no reason that any of that should happen. You should not be pulled over because someone made a clerical error. And on your whatever, what if you're on your way to the most important meeting in your life?
Mm-hmm.
That cannot happen. For a clerical error, that cannot happen. It can't just be like, well, we had a reason to pull you over because of it. This is the police state. This is saying like, no, that's exactly the opposite of what, like, this is actually really enlightening and very interesting to know. That's a problem.
Yeah, so if you see Carol versus the state of Maryland, root for me, guys.
Yeah.
What you need to do is you just need
Wait
to
a
steal
minute,
the
it's
car.
not that Carol. It's not that Carol. It's not Carol versus the state of Maryland.
Some old white woman.
Listen, it is, but it's
It is, but it isn't.
Well,
it isn't. It's
I mean, I'm definitely an old woman.
Okay.
So-
Troy,
But
what were you saying?
what you need to do is you just need to steal the car with the other license plate. then you're good.
that makes sense.
But it's already stolen.
I didn't really mean it made sense. That was the dumbest agreement that it made sense. That all like
Now we're all in agreement saying you need to steal the car. Anyway.
I agree.
no one is in agreeal.
No.
We're not starting that again.
So yeah, that's what
It
I need
never
to do
ended, Jeff.
tomorrow.
All right, listen. Dune. Do we have other things to say about it?
No, I think I'm good. I had some questions, and Chris won me over. Dune's a good movie.
Dune's pretty. The dragonfly cars are cool.
The ornithopters, yeah.
Thopters. The dumb name. There was like his nephew or somebody like clearly named like, what do you want to call it? A thopter. They get a helicopter.
Well, I mean,
Like clearly someone with a lisp did this. But those look cool. A lisp.
Like your pitching. Anyway,
I like that you
I
scoff at
think
me for doing
Dune
it.
Part 2 is going to be fantastic when it comes
No,
out.
no. I'm gonna go ahead and say Dune 1. This was good, and I credit the crap out of them for not telling the normal narrative. Like they ended this movie, and I was like, no shit. I was like, it's over. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised it went on as long as it did.
As was I.
It was
I
2.5
was like,
hours.
It was
It felt
going.
like it.
I when it didn't end with Leto's death, I was like, which I didn't see, or like shortly thereafter, or like literally with like.
Could you imagine if it ended there and
No,
you didn't see
listen, it didn't. I thought it. They also had an out when the worm, the sandworm, comes up and looks at him in the eye because it doesn't look enough like an eye looking at him.
What's it look
Like
like? D?
Destiny.
What's it look like?
Like, no, I'm saying it doesn't look enough like an eye. It clearly looks like an eye
Okay.
and pupil looking at him.
I just know a bunch of people on the internet said it looked like a butthole.
Like a what?
the
Like a
sandworm.
butthole,
Do you have
yeah.
fangs on your butthole?
A
Yes.
butthole.
That's what people
Like
on
a
the internet are
balloon
saying. I'm just. It's not my words.
I think too many of your friends are bleaching their assholes. But that's a story for another day. Maybe don't do too. Look, I liked Dune. I thought it was cool. I'm excited to see what they do next. I want to see. It's a beautiful movie. Like it's
Yes.
It's a very pretty movie.
I'm glad it's out there. I hope people like it. Like, because like I'm kind of weirdly like, no, nothing about this should strike me. I told you I was like, meh, on this.
Yeah, I would go ahead and say that it is a good movie that is not for me.
This is literally a movie that like I might now go see it in a theater to see it on a big screen.
I saw it in IMAX and no, I just saw it in IMAX. I was gonna say and 3D, but that's not true.
Well, if you want to see it in 3D, I'll see it with you.
I think this is absolutely one of those movies that benefits from the big screen. It'll definitely hit different with all the sounds and the lights and the colors.
Are you saying that this movie has health insurance? It's got great bennies.
Oh my god. But I will say I watched it at home with subtitles, and the subtitles are very, very helpful.
Yes, please use subtitles. It'll just help you so much.
Yeah, subtitles are definitely the
But
way to go if you can.
That is the one thing that my girlfriend hated, is that she didn't have subtitles, because it's so much info dump with so many strange names.
So like, it's not wrong. There are characters named like Paul and Lady Jessica.
It didn't really strike me.
Oh
Well,
my
God. It didn't really faze me.
What's your name? Atreides.
I mean, that's
Paul Atreides.
I just kind of shrugged. I was like, all right, that's his name.
Paul.
I don't know. I didn't care.
And here's your hero. I need Paul. Paul.
Well, when you say it like that,
Paul.
Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, I'm Paul.
I think you're shitting on Paul's.
If
The
your name is
name-
Paul, stop listening to the podcast.
Paul Rudd.
Paul.
Except Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd can keep listening.
Paul McCartney.
All right. I mean, like,
There's some pretty badass
keep going.
Pauls.
All right, fine.
Would you describe Paul Rudd as badass?
Yes.
I like him. I love Paul Rudd.
I think we all love Paul Rudd.
But like, I
This
don't
isn't
know
a
if
debate
he's
about the badassery of
badass.
Paul Rudd. It's just a thing. It's just
yeah,
cemented.
but my wife just tuned in.
Oh. She heard Paul Rudd somewhere in the ether, and she's like, "What? I gotta listen right now."
No, I told her at one point there's a Paul Rudd segment, and now, honey,
Oh.
you're listening to it.
Oh, good job. Hi,
I just think
Hello.
Mrs.
Honey.
D.
Paul
Honey.
Rudd's like the goofy, fun uncle, though.
Yeah, he
He's
does
not
have that
like-
energy.
I don't think Paul Rudd could beat anybody up.
That don't make this a weird like fucking.
It's
I don't
already
even know.
it's already part of our sex
Except
life.
Jason Momoa.
This is where I'll cut the Adam and Eve ad in.
This episode is already part of our sex life.
I thought you just like furiously masturbated to the podcast anyway.
If you're
Only the ones where
this
his voice is.
podcast, please write in and give us 5 stars. Right up your bunghole.
Send us a dick pic. Send us the pic of you masturbating to
You
us.
don't have to do that. That's
Name it Paul.
Name it Paul. The load. Just like dump a load. Name it Paul.
No, the image.
Oh, the image.
Send
Okay,
us
that's better.
send us an email of your
I'll
worst
trade you for that.
fucking dumbest police pullover story.
Okay, that's not where I thought you were going. I don't know why I thought you were going with like
I
the
got a
worst
couple of good ones.
dump load. Anyway, that's kind of it for this episode of the podcast, I believe. Unless you want to add something about Dune? No.
No.
Perfect.
Nope.
Awesome.
Jeff,
So,
thanks some people.
I'm gonna thank some people. Troy, thanks for being here, bud.
You're welcome.
Even if you hated the movie.
I didn't hate the movie.
Hey, everybody,
It's just
listen.
not for me.
Don't hate Troy.
D, thanks for being here.
Listen, you're welcome. Let's get that out. You're welcome. But
Chris,
also,
thanks for being here.
Thank you guys for 100
Thank you so much
episodes.
for waiting the podcast for me for this movie.
Dude, I was so
made me
excited
very
to talk to you
happy.
about this movie, and it really paid off.
And the
it's
100th
awesome.
episode.
And the 100th upload. I don't know if I'd call it
Arguably.
episode. Sure. Yep. 100th upload.
Stay tuned for the 100th episode.
I
with
wouldn't.
D.
I wouldn't even say necessarily that the next one is 100 because we had a bunch in the middle during COVID times where Jeff just would dip
Wait
by
till
himself.
next episode for episode 100.
Yeah.
And the episode
totally.
after that, which is also episode 100.
Hey, if you like what you heard, please leave us a fun little review on your favorite podcasting platform. We like reading those when they show up. And go ahead and leave us 5 stars out of 5 or 10 out of 10, whatever the max is. You leave it, please. And thank you.
63 out of 63.
If you haven't done it yet, do it soon.
Dune it soon.
Heyo.
And you can email us at tbandjpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your shitty cop stories. Send us dick pics. Send us something, because I'm a lonely little
Tell
boy.
us your name is Paul.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. Thank you all for listening so very, very much. And we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah. Are you still listening to this? Why are you listening? Why are you listening?